Next! Cocomelon, the most evil channel on YouTube.
My son is almost 2 and I've been letting him watch Cocomelon, but now I had to get him speech therapy so I can get him to talk. There are hundreds and hundreds of anecdotes in which parents mention the exact same problem. The Cocomelon show is so insanely addictive, it's being compared to nicotine and causing developmental
Yeah, it's like fucking crack. It's like crack, dude. Watching those nursery rhymes. Those kids hitting those stupid dances going, it's bath time, if you're dirty, you'll die of a disease. And the kids just...
Children's TV expert Jerica Sands calls it the most damaging show a child can watch, explaining the sneaky ways in which they make the show.
Yo, okay, Cocomelon, yes, it's addicting. Cocomelon, yes, if you watch it too much, it's going to cause these problems. But isn't it kind of on the parents? Because your 3-year-old isn't capable of turning on a TV and putting on Cocomelon on YouTube. You're the one that's turning it on autoplay and leaving the room for 3 hours and then coming back and your kid's just fucking drooling while watching Cocomelon, right? Like, you put it on and left and then came back and they've just been watching the same song on fucking repeat 45 times.
Firstly, there's the colors. Take, for example, the wheels on the bus. The 3 main colors, blue, green, and yellow, are all at maximum saturation, meaning they cannot be made any brighter, no matter how hard you try. Extreme saturation is normally used for alerts and notifications, as it's exciting, dynamic, and attracts attention.
I mean, but isn't that the same thing as, like, cartoons? Like, like SpongeBob.
Which is why it's also used in slot machines. Cocomelon puts these colors in perfect contrast, making them appear even more vibrant, which is different to, for example, Bluey, in which the colors instead blend together. Cocomelon's also different because it's highly repetitive. There's a reason they have 38
'Cause it's fucking nursery rhymes, dog. What? It's meant for somebody that can't speak yet. The wheels on the bus go round and round around, because they don't know they don't know how a fucking wheel works. They don't know how cars move because they're dumb toddlers. So you have to explain it in songs so they fucking get it.
There's a reason they have 38 videos with over 1 billion views. A child's brain is wired to learn through repetition, so it feels right to them to watch the same thing over and over again. Cocomelon abuses this in almost every video. For example, in the Yes Yes...
I mean, there's gotta be better fucking things to watch, right? Like, for a growing kid's brain. Like, what would be like like Bluey? I mean, Bluey would be good. I feel like, dude, putting on, like, what cartoons did you guys watch when you were a kid? I'm talking, like, toddler chat. Not, like, when you watched, like, Victorious and Disney Channel. I'm talking, like, kid. Like, I watched Blue's Clues. I remember watching Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. I remember watching Veggie Tales and, what are those weird aliens with the fucking... Teletubbies. Yup. There it is. Umi Zoomies. Or like those rodents that would answer calls for help. The phone is ringing. My house is on fire! Get here right... Well, it looks like we have a task today.
Pairing it with a subtly repeating background lullaby, keeping children.
Courage the Cowardly Dog was the shit? No, it was not. Dude, Courage the Cowardly Dog, dude, it could be noon. I remember watching that show and immediately being terrified. Courage the Cowardly Dog was horrifying. I hated Caillou. I also hated Caillou.
Literally no show or movie puts my son into a deep trance the way Cocomelon does. The second it's on the TV...
Bro, I'm trying to think what put me in a trance, dog. I'm trying to think what put me in a trance when I was a kid. Obviously, like, when you're, like, 2 or 3, you ain't remembering it. But, like, what was a show that put you in a trance when you were, like, 4? Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. I remember sitting down and it would be like, and it would be that fucking bell whistle, and that whole house would just start morphing, and he'd be out there, he'd be like, it's a Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and he'd be fucking dancing and shit, and I'd be tweaking. I'd just be sitting there just fucking locked in. Not, like, no thought in my mind. I lived in the show. Tom and Jerry, yeah. No, Tom and Jerry really did put me in a trance. I told y'all before, One day I had to stay at my grandparents for a few days, and I would just watch Tom and Jerry nonstop for like 6 hours with a pack of Apple Hubba Bubba, and I would just eat the whole pack and just sit there and just go. Like, eyes half open. It was like I was high. Just sitting there, just so much sugar alcohol intake. Just me just sitting there just fucking chewing.
He turns into a toddler zombie who doesn't see or hear anything else that's going on in the room. This is only exacerbated by Cocomelon's subtitles, which have also been a heavy point of criticism. The letters are not educational, I can barely read them fast enough. It's simply another interesting element to capture your little one's attention. Cocomelon explains in every description, our goal is to help make learning a fun and enjoyable experience for kids, giving you the peace of mind that your children are receiving quality educational content. But people have argued that they're teaching exactly what children shouldn't do. For example, in the No No Bedtime song, the baby refuses to brush his teeth, have a bath, put on pajamas, or get in bed.
And you know what they gotta do? They gotta pull it, they gotta dial it back. They gotta dial it back a few years. The kid refuses to brush his teeth. Let's flash forward the song to him with no teeth, okay? Rot it out. Ooh, now you have a cavity. And the dentist is going to have to drill into your fucking mouth because your teeth are rotting, and then he's going to have to replace it with a crown, and it's really going to hurt. And you're going to have stitches all over your fucking teeth because you didn't fucking brush them. And people are going to think you smell bad.
The education is that he eventually agrees to do so, yet a TikTok user was critical, stating, anytime I'd ask my son to do a simple task, he'd
you know what parents should just be showing their kids? Happy Tree Friends. I'm not saying this should be an experiment. However, how do you think, chat, humor me. Chat, humor me here. How do you think a child growing up watching Happy Tree Friends would end up? If you don't know what Happy Tree Friends is, it starts out as a happy cartoon, and it always ends with all of them dying a brutal death, right? Like, every single time. Like, they might be at a carnival, and then, like, they'll get decapitated or, like, stabbed, like, 5,000 times. Just, like, a school shooter, no lie. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. I think the idea that, I think what you're watching is different from how you're raising your kid. Like, if your kid watches, like, Cartoon Network when they're, like, a kid and they understand more, like, raunchy humor, that's not, like, indicative that they're going to be, like, a fucking psychopath. That's, like, if you just raise them terribly and then they're also in a bad environment and they don't really get the help they need and they don't feel comfortable talking to you, and now everything compounds and then they become, like, insane, right? And then kill people, right? Like, anybody remember when, like, school shootings really started kicking up, like, late 2010s or mid 2010s, and they were blaming it on Call of Duty? Like, I remember, like, 2015, like, people being like, it's the video games, it's Call of Duty, and then it was Call of Duty for a while, and then, like, Fortnite dropped, and then they were like, it was Fortnite. You know, Tilted Towers is just a recreation of 9/11. It's teaching them to be terrorists, right? Like, some shit like that. Like, just, like, actual, like, insanity coming from the parents of, like, yeah, GTA is just telling them to kill people.
Say no, no, no. He's sitting there watching Cocomelon, which taught him no, 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 and to say no to me. On the topic of education, Jerica Sand stated, these people don't give a shit about our children. They care about money. That's it.
I mean, is this really shocking, though? It's a nursery rhyme channel that drops a pre- and post-roll ad in every video. It's YouTube. YouTube is monetized, right? Like, they're making money. It's, I think, one of, if not the highest earning YouTube channels in the world.
Your child's cognitive development in direct exchange for their wealth, and there's pretty good evidence supporting this. A New York Times journalist visited Cocomelon's studio, discovering their #1 focus is keeping children hooked. Cocomelon's data and analytics team sifts constantly through YouTube numbers to determine exactly what resonates.
I'm so lost, though, because what is the average age of a Cocomelon viewer? Because they're saying they want to keep the attention of that viewer, But, like, is the kid choosing to watch the Cocomelon videos, or are the parents? Because I always assumed Cocomelon was something that a parent would just throw on TV on autoplay and leave. So, like, who gives a fuck if the kid finds it entertaining? Like, the parents are just putting it on. Unless maybe because the kid wouldn't ask for it again.
Should a girl wear black jeans or blue jeans? Should the music be louder or softer? Should the bus be yellow or red? Yellow is the answer, as they use a darker method to ensure that they're correct. Cocomelon has a dedicated Distractotron room, in which once a month children are brought here one at a time and shown a handful of episodes to figure out exactly which parts of the shows are engaging and which are tuned out.
Oh my god, imagine Cocomelon, like, hooked up kids to, like, those brain wires to see which parts of their brain triggered. Yo, that'd be wild if they did that. Like, this is borderline them doing that. Like, every month they show them the videos they plan on releasing and seeing what they need to tweak. As you get older, you have more of your own interests and, you know, likes and desires. So it's harder to trap that into a single YouTube video. You know, like, when I'm appealing to you guys, you're all drastically different than each other. You all might like my content, but what you want to do when you grow up, what you want to be, what you do for fun, all these other things might be drastically different. But when you're 4 and you can barely talk and write, all they really need to do is just show you something that's bright and colorful, and your dumbass is just going to go like a kid on acid, because you don't have a personality. You haven't developed anything, right? Like, you don't have interests. You might like certain foods, but that's, like, about it. You're 4.
A second screen which plays a continuous loop of banal real-world scenes. A guy pouring a cup of coffee, someone getting a haircut, each lasting about 20 seconds. Whenever a youngster looks away from the Moonbug show to glimpse the Distractotron, a note is jotted down. We can see what they're looking at and the exact moment when they got distracted.
Wow, dude, that is creepy.
For education clearly isn't the primary goal. Keeping kids' attention is, and this is proven by Cocomelon's most addictive element, rapid camera cutting. It's crazy how many times the frame changes on Cocomelon. It's the same type of addicting behavior that we experience on a TikTok binge. It's the quick change of frame that releases that dopamine and makes the videos addicting to watch. Count the seconds between a change of frame. Well, TikToker the Circus Brain did.
Bro, you ever been scrolling on TikTok before? See, this is another reason I hate TikTok. You ever scrolling on TikTok before and you want to do something else, but you don't know what you want to do, but you're literally just stuck doom scrolling, and you're, like, not having fun, but you like, literally can't get off. You're like, oh, I'll do something else. And then, like, you start to do something else and then get back on your phone for, like, a minute. And then now you're just trapped again, just scrolling for, like, an hour. It's horrible.
He firstly counts the changes on My Little Pony, concluding there's about 6 seconds between each cut. He then compares it to Cocomelon.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
That annoys me, though. Like, that's too many cuts. Like, then your mind can't even focus on a frame. It's just constantly resetting.
2, 1.
In her video, The Nightmare That Is Cocomelon, Savantix draws a similar conclusion. She found that 96% of the shots in Baby Shark were shorter than 2 seconds. She then compares 4 different—
Bro, Baby Shark has to be the worst song ever. I'm so happy that's not a trend anymore. And Baby Shark, doo 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 doo, Mommy Shark, doo 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 doo. Oh, Grandpa Shark, doo 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 doo. It has 10 billion views, dude. Literally, that video alone probably made like $5 million.
The longest shot on a Cocomelon video was 6 seconds. The longest shot on Arcane was 8 seconds. The longest shot on Bluey was 27 seconds. And the longest shot on Encanto was 18 seconds.
which, when combined with every other element,
But Bluey does well. Yeah, but a lot of adults watch Bluey.
create some terrifying statistics. Dr. Kristen Summer explained that when showing an infant normal video content, they'll focus on the screen just 11% of the time. However, when the video is instead switched to Cocomelon, their screen engagement skyrockets to a whopping 74%. This therefore produces stories such as this. I used to volunteer for a preschool and they had song time. A Cocomelon video video came on, and all of the tots stopped what they were doing, put down their cheese crackers, and remained fixated on the screen for the duration of the video.
Yo, they should start putting subliminal. Okay, now I'm getting really into the marketing hell. They should start putting subliminal messages in Cocomelon videos to just create a massive army of people that they handcraft from their YouTube channel. They should start instilling, that's what they're doing. They're probably they're probably putting like liberal like propaganda subliminal messages into the fucking kids' brains in the Cocomelon videos to make them communists, dude. That's probably what's happening.
YouTuber Saberspark shared his own personal anecdote. He asked to watch a Disney movie with his two younger cousins, who both completely refused, and instead spent all day glued to an iPad playing the addictive show.
Instead of watching a Disney movie?
Cocomelon made my kid a zombie, a mother talks about her son. He would be in a daze while watching it. You could be waving your hand right in front of his face, and
Alright, chat, would you rather have your kid watch Skibbity Toilet or Cocomelon? Dude, honestly, I feel like there's more story building in Skibbity Toilet. Like, there's it'd be more brain rot, but like there's more going on.
This was also discovered by Sarah Mills 98.
Rather than being like, I don't want to brush my teeth. No.
Who explain when the Cocomelon addiction is so real that my 1-year-old can navigate the TV to turn it on by himself.
Drool dripping all over himself. Bro probably got shit into his pants. Oh my god. Cheeto dust and fucking slobber all over his hands. Just changing that goddamn... Oh my... Ugh.
However, nothing shows the addiction better than the Cocomelon TikTok trend. Parents will play the show's intro loudly and video their kids sprinting toward the television, where you can witness their mood change instantly. The New York Times journalist found something similar. The kid in the...
Yo, dude, do you think there's gonna be like Cocomelon vapes in 15 years? When like all the young Gen Alpha kids right now grow up, like, are they gonna remember Cocomelon? And it's gonna be like, you know how like we have like Rick and Morty vapes and shit, and you could buy I have like a Rick and Morty bong, like you'd be like that but Cocomelon. Yo, dude, I'm gonna make a Cocomelon vape, and it's gonna be coconut melon flavored, and it's gonna play similar to how the vapes now you can play like Pac-Man on them and shit on some of like the high-tech disposable ones. It's just gonna play Cocomelon videos. I'm gonna reach out to Cocomelon, but it's gonna be like 100 puffs, just so they have to keep buying them, and it only plays the video while you're hitting it. Chat, start writing this down. Start writing this down. This is gonna be the next big thing. Okay, it's gonna be like literally no puffs at all. It's gonna be like 100 puffs. It's gonna have one song preloaded, and it only plays while you're hitting the vape. So you just fucking kill that shit, you have to buy another one.
Young children experiencing symptoms of addiction and withdrawal, obviously leaving them completely dysregulated. TikTok user The Poff
Your kid's in the corner just scratching.
1 filmed what happens when you take the show away, explaining he'll be inconsolable for at least 10 to 15 minutes after, adding,
yeah, and that's where you just let him cry. That's where you just let him cry, dude. Walk away. They'll burn out eventually, you know?
Cocomelon meltdown is legit. Once you have a taste of the cocoa, it's hard to break the addiction, which this Reddit user had experienced even worse. My husband and I have been worried about our child. I can slowly see how she'd throw violent tantrums at home and in church whenever she'd get bored and would want to watch the show. Her behavior changes the moment she watches the show, and she will not even eat her meals if she wouldn't watch it.
Okay, tantrum's different, but personal experience here. I remember being bored as fuck in church. Holy shit. Dude, when you're like sick, you don't even understand that. If you're like 5, 6 years old, you do not understand the concept of God, okay? Or death, or anything for that matter. And so you're sitting there, and they're just like playing these fucking slow-ass songs and like saying like very long, drawn out, like, you know, whether it be prayers or songs or sermons or whatever they're doing, you know, you're just sitting there like, fuck, man. I remember I used to play tic-tac-toe on a little notepad.
After these tantrums end, kids can experience a general discomfort in the speed of everyday life. The more they watch the show, the more their brain begins to expect this intense level of stimulation.
Basically, Cocomelon overstimulates their brains so much that everything else just seems slow and boring in comparison.
However, the potential consequences get much worse than this.
Yo, that's like literally how I describe weed, though. Like, that's like, wow, dude, that means Cocomelon really is bad. Because, like, I would describe, like, everything had, like, before weed, everything was, like, you know, regular fun level. And then I got high, and everything was, like, super fun. And then everything not high was just, like, less fun. Wow, dude. That is really the like, weed doesn't have, like, a biological, like, chemical that makes it addicting. But that's what's addicting about weed. Is the things you do while high become only more enjoyable while high comparable to not high.
As mentioned at the start, it was the cause of a child's speaking problems.
That's facts that weed can be addictive. Anything that changes your state of mind is addicting. Caffeine, weed, alcohol, nicotine. Like, some things are more addicting than others, like nicotine, because it has a genuine biological addictiveness to where you're smoking it and you feel the urge to keep doing it, versus things that are experientially addicting, right? Where you want to relive that same moment rather than have that same feeling.
Over on Reddit, a speech-language pathologist explained, screen time in general is linked with speech delays for a variety of reasons, but Cocomelon is excessively bad. Firstly, unlike other TV shows or movies, it doesn't have a story. It's just very short clips with poorly written songs. The kids aren't able to follow the plot, learn vocabulary, and see the resolution of a conflict, supported by infant specialist Meg Fora.
And the problem with fast-paced TV programs is that we find that little one's language development is slower.
On the Agents of Speech YouTube channel, this is again confirmed.
The main problem with watching videos on the
If a kid had hallucinogenic drugs, would it not even be really like tripping for them? Because a toddler doesn't understand anything anyway. Their brain's kind of like a sponge. So hallucinating to them would kind of just be like the casual everyday world. Who's gonna test it? I hope no one.
learn.
But he adds that 4 to 5 hours of screen time per day can make a toddler.
But that's just a theory. A game theory. Do toddlers tweak out on acid? Let's find out today.
Completely non-verbal. 4 to 5 hours is obviously a lot of time, but in Cocomelon Made My Kid a Zombie, researchers discovered that 5-year-olds who watch more than 2 hours of TV a day tended to have lower attention spans and were 7.7 times more likely to show symptoms of ADHD. These screen times might be even lower for Cocomelon specifically, because as explained by Jerica Sands, not all screen time is created equal. A child who just watched 30 minutes of Cocomelon and a child who just watched 30 minutes of Trash Truck will look like a very, very different child. Thankfully, here lies a simple solution. Sierra.
What is Trash Truck? Well, it's the difference between a kid that's watched 1 episode of a show versus 10 episodes of a Cocomelon show. I have no idea what the fuck Trash Truck is, though.
My 2-year-old is speech delayed and addicted to Cocomelon. Switched to Miss Rachel 2 days ago, and he's already saying more words and hasn't had any tantrums. Kim.it shared an almost identical anecdote. My 8-month-old was obsessed with Cocomelon and having bad.
I think it's cartoons, too, dude. Like, I think cartoons are good, but, like, I remember, if I had to guess, I think Blue's Clues is probably good for learning as well, because it's, like, a human talking to you. Like, obviously, it's still, like, a human voicing a cartoon character, but, like, having, like, the dude from Blue's Clues, like, speaking to you is probably better than just watching a cartoon character.
Tantrums, so I cancelled Cocomelon and only let her watch Miss Rachel, and she said her first word within the first 3 days of watching. Clearly, parents are able to simply change the channel, but not before leaving Cocomelon a massive amount of dislikes. They've therefore earned the title, The Absurdly Popular Kids Show Parents Hate, and Cocomelon has actually responded to the criticism that explain our shows are not intended to replace outdoor playtime or playdates. They have a place in children's entertainment time, and as with food, exercise, etc., it comes down to each parent to find the right and appropriate balance for their children.
Yo, you gotta have some boring ass kids though, for real, dude. The media in 30 years is just gonna be stuff that's visually appealing, but fucking plot-wise, horrible. Because they're just watching shit that's just giving them dopamine off visuals, but, like, everything about it outside of what it looks like sucks.
Responsibility is ensuring that the quality of the content that we produce is high and beneficial for the development of a child's cognitive and soft skills. It is worth adding that our social media communities are filled with stories of parents who experience firsthand how Moonbug content helps their children. Cocomelon does have a crazy amount of supporters, but it's obvious that some of them are simply ignoring the downsides. My baby learned the alphabet and numbers from Cocomelon. She
Bro, that's wild. Like, teach your own kid that. Teach your own kid that.
may not speak a complete sentence, but she expresses her wants through phrases.
Bro, like, I would want to teach my own kid. Also, for my own, like, you know, confidence as a parent, I would rather me be the one that's taught them how to say, like, apple or fucking banana or numbers rather than a fucking YouTube video.
But is it Cocomelon's responsibility to ensure that babies are talking? Well, no. People love blaming cartoons and games for raising children, and not the shitty parents that don't step in to stop them from watching so much. Cocomelon is actually a really sad symbol of parents giving their children tablets instead of actually parenting and interacting with them. Ultimately, parents are the people who choose how much their child consumes.
Bro, I remember watching, or not even watching, I remember my mom telling me that when I was a kid, she put this weird, like, screen around me because it's supposed to facilitate, like, learning or something. It was like this black thing that would be around me. I swear, I don't even, chat, does anybody know what I'm talking about? It wasn't like, this was before tablets, because I was born in 2002. It was like this weird fucking, like, wall that was supposed to, like, hone in focus. Kind of like horse blinders, but not really. I literally would have to ask her. I'd be like, what the fuck was that? All right, next video. I gotta piss real quick first. So count me down 30 seconds.